We're live. Welcome to Thought Shifting Thursdays.
Welcome.
Talking today about the power of gratitude, which happens to be the same title of your women's circle this Sunday.
That's right. That's right.
So now you've been doing a gratitude practice for the month. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yes, it's a 30-day gratitude um, challenge. And every day, you can do one. My sister's doing 6. Mina's doing 6 things that she's grateful for. She's a lot more elaborate than me, for sure. But I'm concentrating on one thing only. And the word gratitude or gratefulness, it just brings up a lot of different things for me. You can find something to be grateful for everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Just the fact that you open your eyes and you're alive, you know.
I'm grateful for your pretty face. I can't sit next to her without kissing her. It's just impossible. I'm grateful for Naomi, too, who joins us every single week.
Naomi.
Member of our Primal Fire Retreat tribe. So what I want to know, though, is
Yes.
by doing this gratitude challenge every day, how is that affecting the rest of your day? Like, obviously you post in the morning, but how does that affect the rest of your day?
I see other things, things that I wasn't aware that I should be grateful for. Like, for instance, today I was grateful for pain because I threw my back out and I was in so much pain. But that made me realize, okay, maybe I'm not doing something correctly when I'm exercising, or I don't know, maybe there's some deficiency in my body or something. But first thing that comes to mind when my back goes out is I got to get to a chiropractor. I got to get to acupuncture. And
You went to both yesterday.
I did. I found people 10 minutes away from me. I mean, I have wonderful people that I can go to an hour away. So it'll take 2 hours, 3 hours of my day, and I wasn't willing to do that. And I found some great people just 10 minutes away, and so I'm just very grateful that they are helping me to deal with this pain.
And that is so powerful, being grateful for pain. You know, in my lectures, when I talk about the theme of my book, which The Magic of the Soul, I'll show you the picture, little plug here. If you haven't read it, it is the best spiritual self-help book on the market, according to me, and a lot of other people, actually. But, you know, in it I talk about what I call radical gratitude, or being grateful not only for the things that obviously make us happy, but especially for the things that challenge us the most. The natural inclination is to hate pain, right, and want it to go away.
Yes.
You're being grateful for it, which anytime we're grateful for something, we gain something from it instantly, right? You got inspiration and motivation and clarity for what
Right.
you need to do. Whereas if you're resisting the pain, you might not do that because you're in problem mode
Yes.
rather than solution mode.
Yes.
So that's super powerful.
What about you? How do you deal with pain, and what happens to you?
I'm not grateful for anything. Bah humbug. No, as I've said many times, I've been diagnosed as being chronically optimistic. So, but you know, the thing that I'm noticing, maybe because I don't even think it was because I don't even know if I decided that was going to be our theme yet this morning, but it's the subtle things. For the big things, because it's my spiritual practice, you know, injured my knee, and, you know, I was grateful for the injury. I'm grateful that I've got more time because I'm not playing tennis 3 times a week now, to focus on some projects that we're wanting to develop, which
Right.
just would take a lot longer if I was playing tennis 3 times a
Right.
week. So,
Right.
you know, I'm focused on that. I mean, if you gave me, you know, multiple choice, would you rather A play tennis, or B play with these projects? We don't work, we only play. You know, I'd say play tennis, but given the situation, rather than be in dissatisfaction that it is what it is. I'm going to get everything I can out of this experience.
Right.
Um, but I was just noticing today, and this is like such a mundane thing, but for the big things like a knee that might require surgery and has
Yes.
already been limiting for me for a month now. That's easy because it's something I practice regularly. But it's the subtle things. Like I was just getting my vitamins, my supplements out today, and I get them out for 4 days, and I've got about, I don't know, what would you say, 30 supplements I take every day. And so I thought, this thought went through my mind. Oh, I've got so much I'm going to do today. Kind of a hassle that I have to do this today, right? I forgot. Oh, I got to do it today. And instantly, I just thought, man, there are people in what a first world problem. There are
Right.
people in Ukraine right now who are, fighting for their lives, right? And I'm going to be dissatisfied that I've got to, put out my supplements for 4 days, right? I don't even have to do it. I have choice. I could say screw it.
Yeah.
But and so those are the things that I like to really catch myself in is, and one of the things I put out for people is, it's one thing to do a gratitude list or to post a gratitude thing, but if the rest of the day you're walking around dissatisfied with whatever's going
Everything,
on,
yeah.
guess what? You're going to attract more of that. And so, I ask people, from the pivoting process, which is measuring our consciousness. I'm not going to go into detail about that. We've got lots of videos on that. But what percentage of the time, just track this one, what percentage of the time on an average day are you in gratitude compared to dissatisfaction? And dissatisfaction can be really subtle, right? My computer shuts down and I can be really dissatisfied that happened or pissed off. And, or I can be grateful that I have a computer to shut down.
Exactly.
Or that I'm not in the Ukraine and, my computer just got blown up by a bomb.
Right.
Right? So, that's first world problems. My prayer partner and I, Reverend Steve Rambo, we were praying one time, and he was praying he was getting some work done on his roof, that would go smoothly. And I was praying that something for my sweat lodge. I was inside the sweat lodge looking at it, and I forget what it was, but and it was right after Wayland, this elder from Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota, had come to do a sweat lodge healing lodge for someone with cancer in our lodge. That's right, that's what it was, because the lodge had, he melted the lodge. I won't go into all the details of that, but we rebuilt it, and I was just like a little bit concerned about the structure, and so I just thought, and having experienced Wayland and learning about the plight of the native people on at Pine Ridge, the poorest reservation in the land, and that there's people there with houses that look like they've been shot up with a machine gun, right, and have leaks in their roof, and many people in an area that would be our kitchen where they've got like 10 people living, right? And so I just said to my prayer partner, first world problems, let's just pray for the world, So, and oftentimes I'll say that to my client when people are having financial struggles. And
For the girls in Iran.
right.
Yeah.
In a first world country, having, financial challenges is nothing like you've been feeling like, we're limited finance because of our
I'm at 60%.
Yay! We've been talking about that. You started out at what, 4%?
0%.
0%. So that's measuring consciousness, the pivoting.
And I didn't feel guilty about buying a new washing machine and getting my 2 recliners that I've been wanting for our bedroom for
Right.
years.
Good.
And I decided I'm going to do it. I'm doing it. I have enough money.
Yeah.
I made enough money. I have it right here in my hands. I am going to do it. And I did it.
Excellent.
So,
But for people in, and I'll say to clients, we've met people in India and in Africa that, if they had, I mean, even someone who's struggling, even someone who's living on the street here has it better than most people in third world countries. And so I'll say to a client, you know, there are people we've met that if they had 1/100th of what you have and the opportunity that you have, they would just be ecstatic. It would be like, what an up level for them, right? So it's all about perspective, right? It's all about how we frame things.
Right, how we see the world, for sure.
What does Naomi have to say? Needed this reminder. Gratitude for all that is. Love you too.
I don't even have to go to Africa or India. I mean, Guatemala and Mexico. You know, you go to some of the places there, and you know, we Americans. Well, I consider myself an American now, but American people go to these places and they just go as tourists. They don't see the poverty that is there.
Right.
And so when you go to the places where poor people are living in shacks, they don't have any potable water, they don't have school, they can't go to school because the family has to support themselves. I mean, dirt.
You're making me cry.
It's awful. It's awful. And they're surviving, and they're grateful when you give them something small, you know. When you share some food with them, you cut a pineapple and you give them half. They're ecstatic,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's the evolution of consciousness for me is, you know, I think when you're young, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Our basic needs, and then you go up the ladder and you get to self-actualization. And I think when you get to self-actualization and wanting to serve the world, then it's less about what do I need to do for myself, you know, and more about how can I make a difference, you know, and everyone does what is they're called to do, right? And so, you know, we donate to a lot of causes, but you know, our main thing is spreading information like this. This is what we're called to do.
one of the things.
Doing workshops and coaching, and our retreats are just amazing. People transform,
Right.
and as people, and the more people that transform, the more people that get to that level of actualization where they want to help. And so, you know, it's a beautiful thing too.
It's a ripple, for sure.
Right. And so, you know, there are a lot of things in the world that we can complain about right now, or see as be dissatisfied with, be uncomfortable with, and it's not to dismiss those things or any pain we feel about those things. It's to be present for our feelings. I'm going to do a video about that. I know we've done it before, but just talking about, you know, so many of the spiritual law of attraction things, you know, it's all about shifting our consciousness. And you just have to be careful to not repress emotions or do a spiritual bypass, right? And so just been catching myself a little bit doing that with some things that have been challenging me a little bit, where I just go to the positive and realize, oh, wait a minute, I left behind
There's still something
some
there.
emotion there that I didn't get out. And so that's the thing, is to be willing to cry, be willing to be angry, you know, about situations, and then shift to the positive, then shift to the gratitude. It's not an either or, it's a both and, right? I'm just inspired to say, since we brought up Pine Ridge Reservation, and you know, we're doing it's Gratitude Month, Thanksgiving is coming, and we'll talk about this more next Thursday, but you know, for many Native American people, the day of Thanksgiving is a day of mourning, you know, because you know, when some tribes were like helping the settlers find their way and to survive, right? And then and so that, you know, Caucasians or Americans or settlers talk about that first Thanksgiving, you know, when we all came together with the Native Americans, but we don't often hear about, and it's not taught in schools in the history, that years later what happened afterwards, where the settlers actually brought blankets to the natives in some tribes with smallpox in them, and it was genocide, really. It's actual genocide, trying to wipe people out. in order to get their land. So, and it's sad that some of these atrocities are still going on. The people, in Pine Ridge and other reservations who do not have the same opportunities that most of us do. So, coming back to gratitude, I'm grateful for it all, even the things that we don't like, because if nothing else, right, Naomi? She often posts this because, we talk about this together, is even the most heinous things that are happening in the world, if nothing else, are a call for love. And that's what we're all here to do, is to raise the vibration of love. And one way to do that is to be in gratitude. Gratitude is a component, a subset of love, right? Or it's synonymous, because when we're grateful for something, we're loving it, right? We're in the vibration of love. Hey, Yalan Mower, our buddy Yalan is on too. So we're just talking about gratitude. Grateful for our friend Yalan too, who is our firekeeper for our sweat lodge. Got a sweat lodge going on this Saturday, as a matter of fact, and built the sweat lodge for Catalina, and we have one spot left for our Catalina retreat.
Only one, huh?
Only one spot left next September. That's how popular they are. So it's going to fill up, probably any day now. So if anyone's thinking, boy, that would be great, 5 days, 4 nights on a private beach with a tribe of amazingly evolved, authentic beings. We're so lucky. Talk about gratitude. So
Yes.
grateful for the kind of people that just tend to come to us, to our ceremonies. Yalan, Naomi, just saw a message coming in from Leslie. So many amazing people that come to our home to do ceremonies. We talked last week about psychedelic integration, something we're involved with. We're just so fortunate.
Yes, I feel very fortunate.
Good.
Really.
And you're
Yes.
at 60%. And now you're spending all our money. No, it
It's
doesn't bother
my
me,
money.
because I'm at 90%, baby. So if you want to know what these percentages are about, hit us up, and we'll get you hooked up with the pivoting process, which is, I say is the most powerful work I do with people, or the most important work I do with people. Most powerful work I do with people is voice dialogue. And I just sent an email to my friend Marilyn, and she's in Spain now, but she lived in Findhorn for many years and was one of my classmates in psychosynthesis,
You worked with her a lot.
transpersonal psychology, like 35 years ago, and trying to see if I can get my classmates together for a reunion, because I was just thinking about how important. Shout out to the late great saint of a woman, Vivian King, who was my teacher. I got to share that story one of these days too.
Well,
Anyway,
no, what I was going to say is to be thankful also. Just find something to be grateful for today. Do something for someone, and that would light your world in some way.
and if you really want to challenge yourself, be grateful for something that's really bugging you, for something that's really challenging you right now.
What is it that is teaching you?
Right.
What is it trying to show you?
What's the greater freedom,
Yes.
love, or joy that wants to emerge from this situation? As soon as you ask that question, you're now accessing, you're empowering yourself by asking the question. Even if you don't get an answer, you've shifted from being a victim of this situation to now accessing it to empower you. So play with that. Have fun with it. The more we can shift from the negative to the positive, the easier life gets, the more we attract great people and things into our life, and good finance. And anyway, we love you guys. We're grateful for everyone who gets to participate with us in these videos. And so if you got some value from this today, please share. Please give us a comment. What are you grateful for? And we will give us a like too, and we'll see you next week. All right.
All right.
Take care. And